Welcome, everybody, to Let's Talk, the Todd Worsham Show. I'm sorry I'm laughing because this is like my fifth take of my opening because I can't stop laughing. I don't know. I'm in a really good mood today. So oh, sorry about that. Anyway, today's show and topic is critical thinking, man, and a little bit of common sense. Where did it all go? At any rate, I believe I'm like last of the boomer, 63. So I think 64 or 65 is the last of the boomer. I don't really know exactly. At any rate, so when my generation grew up, most of us grew up not having a lot of money. So when something broke, you had to fix it. You went in the garage, you got a screwdriver, you unplugged it, you took it apart. Oh, what's this? So you went down to Radio Shack and you got a new one and pulled out your soldering gun and you did all that, or you pulled the dryer apart and changed the belt on it, or I'm so old, I can't believe I'm going to say this. I'm so old that I used to go down to Quigley's store with my grandfather and check the tubes from the back of the TV and replace them as needed. There was this big, huge machine, and I want to say it was Zenith, but I don't remember. I can kind of see it, but I don't remember the name on it. But Zenith just sticks in there, and I could be totally wrong. And Quigley's was like this little general store down the street from our house, and they sold. It was really cool, actually, if you think about it. Now I think about it, it was like a little mini Walmart. It had models in there because I used to buy my models in there. It had candy. It had Levi's, tubes for your TV, and they sold fish tanks and fish, and household goods. Not really so much food, but like household goods and stuff like that. Quickly, anyway, my point being is we had to fix things. So I think my generation grew up with critical thinking skills because we always had to figure out how to extend the life of the products that we had. Because in our generation, you didn't throw everything in the trash and go down to Walmart and buy another one. You saved up your money, you bought a quality item, and you used it for the life, which was usually back in those days a long time, except for TV tubes. Actually, I don't remember how long they lasted. I just remember getting in the truck and going down there and doing that. So, but I think the boomer generation was just naturally born into a generation that was innovators, fixers, doers, and today's generation is, well, it's disposable, I guess would be the best word I could say. As you know, I'm in aviation because I just stated blah 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 blah. And I think I've stated this before in some of my other shows, but there seems to be a gap between in between the mechanics or in the industry as a whole. So it's like either under 30 or over 50. And I mean, there are some 35-year-olds and there are some 40-year-olds, but they're very few and far apart. For the most part, you're either under 30 or you're over 50. And right now, everybody seems to be right around 20, 22. So in fact, a lot of the kids at my work are 20, 19, 20, 21, 22. That's, I think the average age at my work, besides the senior citizens, I believe is 22. Well, let me tell you, these people have zero critical thinking skills. None. Zero. It's unbelievable. And it is my job as a senior to acclimate these people into the industry safely and smartly. And it's hard. It's just really hard because they just don't get it. And I try to explain to them, or I'll sit down and say, okay, so if you do this, what happens over there? Oh, I don't know. Well, what happens if you do this? I don't know. Well, think about it. I mean, you've got a maintenance manual that you're reading because you're working on the airplane, so you're reading your manuals. And in their defense, most of the maintenance manuals have holes in them. There's things that go on in between the steps that they don't tell you because, like I tell everybody, the maintenance manuals are for reference only. It's not a step by step instruction, it's a reference manual. So it basically gives you the overview of what you need to do, but it doesn't tell you exactly how to do it because the industry assumes that you have some type of mechanical background or you have some type of mechanical skills, which normally takes some type of critical thinking slash common sense skills. Well, these kids today that I've come in contact with, I would say maybe 1 out of every 10 kids actually has those attributes. So I think I've had, out of the last 20 some, well, so I guess it might be a little higher than that. I guess out of that last 20, 25 kids that's come through our, where I work at, I want to say maybe 4 had came to us with those skills. And then the other issue that we're having is a lot of the kids that don't come with them, you can't you oh my god, you can't instill it in them. You can't. I mean, I've tried for years. I've actually had to sit some kids down and tell them that they might want to pick a different field to get into, because if you can't do basic you can't do some basic jobs in aviation, you're never gonna be able to be a true technician. It just isn't gonna happen. You got to have those basic common sense and thinking, critical thinking skills, and a lot of them don't have that. So what do? I try to empower the kids, build up their confidence first, let them know it's okay to make a mistake, but at the same time, I need you to think. If I do, okay, while you're reading the manual, you read the manual, you look at the plane, you look at the part, you look at the pictures, we call them cartoons. You look at the cartoons, you look at the plane, you match things up, and you got to go in your mind and think about things. How does this go to that? And what happens if I don't do this? And should this part go over that part? Because the manuals don't explain a lot of that stuff to you. Like, for example, if there's a generator or something needs to go on a motor, it's just going to show you installing the generator. It's not going to show you all the other crap that's on the engine, and it might tell you, well, remove this clamp or do this or do that. But 9 out of 10 times, there's other obstacles in your way that it doesn't talk about, because it's assuming that you're not stupid, or it's assuming that you have some type of mechanical or critical thinking skills, and you're not dumb enough to not do this. and it happens all the time. I'm not going to get into stories because I don't want to scare people, but and I think we're seeing it right now. I don't know if it's a combination of the DEI and the lack of common sense and critical thinking skills, if it's all 3 of those or if it's one of them, or I don't know. But look at Boeing. I mean, Boeing's having a lot of problems right now. I mean, they got stuck astronauts in space. They got airplanes with doors flying off and wheels coming off and all kinds of stuff happening. And I'm not going to point a finger or fear. I don't want to fearmonger. I mean, flying is still one of the safest ways to travel. Okay? I'm going to tell you that. I'm telling it to you because there's tens, if not hundreds of thousands of flights a day. So it's still the safest way to travel. It really is. And there are a lot of safety nets, and there's a lot of levels for something to go wrong. So it does happen, but for the most part, it does not happen. 99% it's safe. So I got to put that out there because I don't want you to start thinking that I'm putting aircraft maintenance down and telling you that it's not safe, because that's not true. That's false. So critical thinking skills. So let's combine that with my conspiracy theories, because it just sounds like fun. So what's something I've been talking about? If people know me, I've been talking about this for years and years and years, because I've been doing research on it for a long time. CO2 levels on the planet. Oh, I got one better than that. Let's go back a little ways. What was that? The 80s, I think, maybe the 90s. I don't know if everybody remembers, but there was like this big giant hole in the ozone, and that's when we got rid of fluorocarbons, hairspray, underarm deodorant, PAM, and spray paint, and all these fluorocarbons. We got rid of that, and I don't know if one thing has to do with the other, but you don't ever hear about that anymore. And you want to know why? Because a few years ago, the hole closed. You can look this stuff up. You can look it up for yourself. This is no joke. The hole in the ozone layer, it didn't close all the way, but it closed like 90%. It's pretty much gone. So I did some critical thinking and I did some research and I started thinking about it. And being kind of a spiritual person that I am, and being really connected to the earth and nature and all that, the first thing I thought of was, well, maybe the planet was exhaling. Maybe it had maybe it had too much of something in the atmosphere, and so it just basically opened up its butt and farted, and got rid of the excess garbage that it didn't need, so it could recycle and replenish, and in my opinion, boost the CO2 levels back up. Because I think we all learned this in probably like middle school, that plants live off of CO2 and they exhale oxygen. So let's think about this a little bit. So the more CO2 we have, maybe the more plants that grow, and the more plants that grow, the more oxygen that we get. Even though, and I know 65-70% of our oxygen does come from the oceans. Comes from little nano microscopic plankton, and that's who generates most of our oxygen on the planet. Because a lot of people don't know this, but like the rainforests in Brazil and in South America and other places on the planet, rainforests are actually self-contained ecosystems. What does that mean? So all the foliage that drops from the top of the I forget what they call it, the top of the forest, all the leaves and the dung from the animals and urine and all that kind of stuff. It all drops to the bottom of the forest, right? And then what does it do? It oxidizes. What does oxidize mean? It means it consumes oxygen and decomposes. So basically, the rainforest is producing all this oxygen from all the CO2 that's coming from the top. It's sucking it in, and then it's producing this oxygen, but not much of the oxygen ever gets out of the rainforest, because it all goes right down to the bottom floor so it can oxidize the garbage that's on the bottom. A lot of people don't know this, but it's true. You can look it up. You can look up the rainforest ecosystem. Just like another tidbit that's really got nothing to do with what I'm talking about, but the largest river on the planet is actually in the air. And a lot of people don't know that. It's true. The largest river on the planet is in the sky. Look it up. But so let's think about this critically. So Why does our government keep telling us that CO2 is killing our planet? Why do they keep telling us that? I mean, you know for a fact that trees, foliage, and other things require CO2 to survive and to flourish. And the more foliage that we have and the more trees that we have, the more oxygen gets produced, right? So let's critical think here. So wouldn't you want more CO2 to produce more plants, to produce more oxygen, to help clean the air? I'm just saying this. I mean, call me a nut, but it's pretty basic. And not only that, but I can't say no for a fact, but I just know it, that the earth is going to do whatever it needs to do to balance itself, because that's what the whole universe is based upon, balance. You can't have too much of this and too much of that. And if it does, it will self balance, just like the hole in the ozone. In my opinion, and I hadn't really gone back and done any research on it, so I can't really state, what scientists think or what they know, but I think and I believe that it is the planet's way of exercising balance in itself. Because to keep all the trees and to keep life in the ocean and to keep, us nasty old cancerous human beings alive, the ozone opened up, the earth farted, and it closed back up. But that took a long time. I mean, it took, I think, like 20 years, something like that. But it did. It happened. Critical thinking skills. I mean, just think. Okay, like all this misinformation that we get from both sides around us, it's all around us everywhere. Do some research for yourself. Quit listening. Do it yourself. And again, all I do is just plant the seeds. I'm not asking you to believe me. I'm not asking you to believe anything I tell you. What I'm asking you is to go research it yourself. And it doesn't take long. And remember, I can state this for a fact because I have physically proven it. Google will mislead you. It will. Factual. And I dare anybody to challenge me on that, because I can pick a lot of topics that I can prove by looking in a fucking newspaper, going down to your library, pull up some archives, look up a newspaper, and I will guarantee you that Google will not give you the true facts. And I know this because I've done it time and time and time again. It's misinformation. So be careful when you Google things and make sure you go back a few pages. Don't ever take all your information off the first page. Go back to page 4, 5, 6. Go back a ways. And you're going to find some different types of information when you go that far back. It's not the same information that's on the front pages. The back pages, you'll get different information. I've done this. I've tested it myself. I know this to be true. Critical thinking. Think about things. We are just lacking, or this generation is just lacking in it. Let's see, CO2. What's another one? Well, okay, the fossil fuels, but I mean that's connected to the CO2. But they keep telling us the fossil fuels are going to kill the planet and they're going to kill cows. So they're shutting down our farm. I don't know wherever you're at, but I grew up in the Southwest, California, now Arizona. In both of those states, when I grew up and when I moved here to Arizona in the 90s, were filled with farms. I mean, they were everywhere. You couldn't even, especially here in Phoenix. When I got to Phoenix, I mean, you couldn't even go across town without 20 farms being there. I mean, there was farms everywhere. There was crops being grown. There was cattle. There was pigs, chickens, everything that you needed to feed a population was here. Not no more. No, 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 no. There's a few scattered farms out through the valley, and I know that there's some test beds from I think U of A, University of Arizona, and Arizona State University. I know they both have farms in the area, but the rate that the farms are disappearing should alarm people. So let's do some critical thinking skills here. Where's all of our food coming from? If our population is growing, for example, when I moved here, I believe the population was probably 200 and I want to say it's probably like 270 million, which now it's like 350 million. So we have over 100 more million people, but we have less farms. Let's critical think this. How is that possible? How are we eating? Well, think about this. If we're not producing the food from the ground, where are we producing the food from? Where is our food coming from? It's coming from overseas. We are actually net food now. For the first time in the history of the United States of America, we do not produce enough food for our population. That has never happened before, ever. And it's happening right now here today. And this isn't my opinion. This is factual. You can look it up. You can do your own research. And wherever you live, especially in the urban areas where there used to be a lot of farming that there isn't anymore, you got to scratch your head and ask, where's our food coming from? A lot of our food today is processed. And then not only that, probably 70-80% of people eat from fast food 80% of the time, if not more. In fact, this younger generation, and I'm tripping on them, they eat nothing but fast food. Nothing. You try to give them real food, and they'll go to McDonald's. Well, you go get a McDonald's chicken nugget, and it's what, 25, 30, maybe 40% meat, and the rest is what? I don't know. But it's not meat. And do some critical thinking. So what's happening here? What's going on with our foods? Let's see. Obesity, diabetes, heart problems, Alzheimer's disease. We got all these things that are happening to us right now. And if you look at it, because I did this, I took the time out and did this. If you look at the same time that the farms were disappearing, it coincides with the sicknesses that we're having. Because we're not producing fresh foods and we're not eating fresh foods, we're eating synthetic fucking garbage. I'm one of them. I mean, I do. I eat out I especially at work right now. This project I'm on, I'm working all kinds of crazy hours, and I'm working really close with the customer to try to get some things done, and a little bit of PR, and we're eating out for lunch every day. But I fast almost every day after that. I come home and maybe have like a tangerine or maybe a little bit of Jello or some blackberries or some blueberries, and then I have my little drink that I drink that's ginger, turmeric, cinnamon, limes, lemons, and honey. And I usually don't eat again until a lot of times till lunch the next day. So, and some people would say that's unhealthy, and I always thought it was. But the more I'm learning about the human body and the way it works, I believe it's not unhealthy. I don't do this every single day. I really I just came off of a 24-hour fast from yesterday. I didn't eat for 24 hours. And I think all I had was 4 blackberries, and I had my drink, and I think I had a piece of cheese or something. But I mean, I didn't really eat anything for 24 hours. So, and I felt good. I had a lot of energy. Um, Slept really well. And of course, I take, supplements, which I've already told you about. But anyway, critical thinking. So think about things. Do they make sense? I don't know. The whole CO2 thing doesn't make any sense. And just like a certain shot that was forced on us, now it's fact. More people have died from that medicine than of people who didn't take the medicine. And you can't dispute that. You can't. You just can't. It's impossible. You can't dispute it because it's factual. In fact, there are countries who are banning certain drugs right now. 1.6 million? I think it's million. 1.6 million doses have just been taken off the shelves. And countries are countries around the world are waking up and not requiring certain medications to be taken anymore. Why? Because the science is coming out and the facts are showing that this drug that was pushed on us is actually killing us. And that's not my opinion, and it's not me fear mongering. I mean, I would love to show you guys all these facts and all these programs and all these doctors and all this stuff that I can prove all this to be true. But YouTube has already taken down my videos because I'm stating these facts, and they're telling me that I'm I think I read it on my last show, misinformation from the WHO. Who the hell's the WHO? You think I give a fuck about the WHO? You think I'm going to let some group of people who live 6,000 miles away from me tell me, how to do my body, what to ingest and what not to ingest? Are you kidding me? First of all, in the United States, that's 100% completely unconstitutional. And for our government to give our personal rights away to some entity on the other side of the planet is completely asinine. Think about this. Let's do some critical thinking. Does that make sense to you? Do you think our government should let some other entity halfway around the planet tell us what's right for us? Where did America go? Why does nobody stand up? Why does nobody, what does Trump say? Fight! Well, now Kamala's using that too, so I try not to be political, but I just laugh at it all. You want a really good laugh, turn on CNN and turn on Newsmax or Fox. And to me, it's just all funny because, and I think I've said this, the only way we're going to get through all of this is with love, spirituality, and starting to do the right things, making good choices, making the right choices for yourself. Start loving yourself. Be proud of yourself. None of this, I don't know if I'm a boy or a girl crap. I mean, what the fuck? How could you be 13? How can you be 13 years old and not know what you are? I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm the one that's stupid. But my critical thinking skills tell me that more than likely that's probably a growing up process, because I know the male brain really isn't even mature till what do they say, like 22, 23? And I don't think mine matured until probably 30. Actually, I don't know if it still has. I'm 61. But, and the females, I think, is around 18 or 19. But my point being is, use your critical thinking skills. I mean, you know that our bodies have certain traits and they have certain, certain ways of growing up and maturing, and we know this to be factual. So why would we give power, or why would I shouldn't say power? Why would we give these people? Why would we empower these people to chop off their penises and chop off their breasts? Actions that I guarantee you that 99% of those people will regret. I guarantee it. You know, for me, that's a tattoo, because everybody's got tattoos, and if I had a tattoo, it would drive me fucking nuts. Because yeah, I might want it on today, but 2 months from now, I'd want that thing off of me. I wouldn't be able to do it. So I'm smart. I don't have any tattoos because I know I couldn't handle it. I would never want something on me for that long. Yeah, it just drives me nuts. Anyway, so critical thinking skills, where have they gone? Think about it. Think about your daily life when you go to the grocery store. Think about when you're driving around. I don't know about where you live at, but the amount of people that I see driving just from work to lunch, running red lights, running left-hand turn, turning left on a red light, turning right on a red light, and doing all this kind of stuff, and everybody's in a freaking hurry, and it's unsafe, and it's stupid, and they don't think about the consequences. And then what happens? Car insurance goes up, then your bills go up, and all this bad stuff happens. But nobody sits back and thinks about anything. Even in my dumbest days, I had critical thinking skills. I just made bad choices. But I still understood the repercussions or the outcomes of my decisions. I knew what I was getting into, and I knew what I was doing, but I just did it anyways. I can't answer why. I just did. But I still had critical thinking skills because I thought about things before I did them, but I still did them. But I thought about it. And I went through the scenarios in my head. And I always had common sense. So, well, most of the time. When I was younger, I was pretty naive, but I still had critical thinking skills because I believe my grandparents put those into me. I believe growing up in the garage, working on cars and bicycles and building things at home, and fishing and being outdoors, being in the Boy Scouts, being in the military. I think all these things contributed to my critical thinking skills, and I'm really glad that I had those people around me and those events around me to strengthen those skills. So, but today's kids, they do worry me because we're leaving our world to them, and they're clueless. I mean, as naive as I was never clueless. I mean, I know it sounds like maybe it sounds like an oxymoron, but I was naive, but I understood the thinking process because first of all, I don't know if I said this or not, but the military does what they call muscle memory. They teach you the same thing over and over and over and over again. Like for us, when you heard the whistle blow, every time you heard that whistle blow, you knew to get down on the ground, cover your head up, and it was incoming. And they trained us that, so when we're out in combat, if you heard that whistle, you knew to dive on the ground right where you're at. You just dove down. It was an instinct. It was muscle memory. And then they teach you, like, if this happens, this is what you do. So you take out the thought process because you've been taught so consistently over and over and over again, you knew exactly what to do. And that's kind of ideology I use with the kids that I'm trained, that I have to unfortunately train today, is I just keep telling them the same thing over and over and over and keep reinforcing them. So all you boomers out there, it's our job to help these kids build a good world for us. We're leaving it to them. So do your part. Plant the seeds, help them, just like we were helped. Remember, we didn't come out of the womb knowing what we know. We went through the school of hard knocks and we learned that stuff. Now, I'm not saying baby these kids. I'm saying repetition. Give them muscle memory. Give them those critical thinking skills. Make them think. Because that's what I do. Because these kids, they keep coming to me asking like questions that they should have learned in A&P school. They should have learned that in their mechanics school. They went to school for 2 years. And they're coming to me asking me questions that I know they know because they took a fucking test. So, hello. So a lot of times I won't answer them. I make them go out and figure things out themselves. And I believe if we do that with this generation, we'll get through to them and they'll start getting it. So, and then maybe it's just going to take them longer than it took us because, we grew up in a different time. We grew up we didn't grow up in the time of disposability where everything's disposable. You just use it and throw it away. Everything today is throwaway. Marriages, love, sex, products you buy at the store, they're built so cheap that they don't last, or people don't take care of them. They just throw them away, and we produce all this garbage. Oh, don't get me started on garbage. All this stuff. It's just, so let's teach the kids critical thinking because the world needs it. We need to start thinking for ourselves and quit listening to the social media, the news, because in all honesty, there is no such thing as news anymore. And the news places that you can actually really get true news from, you have to pay for them. You have to subscribe and do a monthly payment to get the really good, accurate news. It's really hard to find really good news. It really is, because most of it's opiners. See, that's what people understand. When you watch CNN and MSNBC, you're not watching news. Fucking wake up. It's opiners. They're giving you opinions of what they think. They're not giving you facts. And that's how they can gaslight you. Both sides, it's not just the left, it's the right too. They're both fear-mongering us. And we're stuck in the middle, and I'm tired of this shit. Tired of it. Don't be stuck in the middle. Do your research. Make your own mind up. Let your wife make her own mind up. Let your kids make their own mind up. Plant the seeds and teach people how to research properly. That's the key there, is properly researching. Don't go on Google. Well, I mean, you can, but kind of go back to maybe page 4, 5, and 6. Or the best way to do it is just go to the library. I mean, I don't know. But I don't know if I was talking about this earlier in the podcast because this is like take 4. But I know for a fact, because I physically have done this, I have taken information on Google and gone back to a newspaper and proved it wrong. And I've done it on multiple occasions on several different topics. So I'm telling you for a fact that I know that Google does not give you correct information. Why? I don't know. I'm not going to sit here and try to convince you of some conspiracy or all this other kind of crap. I don't know why. And I really don't care why. But what I care is that you don't get misled and go down roads that you shouldn't go down. So look on those back pages and use DuckDuckGo go go to YouTube. YouTube is, even though they kicked my video off, for the most part, you can still YouTube a lot of scientists and PhDs, and you can watch a lot of seminars, and you can watch a lot of speeches from scientists and all these doctors. That's what I did with the COVID. I mean, when the COVID came out, I went straight to YouTube and I Googled top virologists, and I did tons of research, and I listened to all of them, and they're all saying the same thing. Okay? And then the next thing I know, I wanted to spread this information. I wanted people to understand what they were getting into. So I recommended all these YouTube channels and all these things, and they weren't there. They were gone. This is a true story. I'm telling you what happened to me, because I had people that were on the fence of taking this shot or not taking it, and unfortunately for a couple of them, they were misinformed and they went the wrong way, and their lives aren't turning out very well. And it kind of upsets me, because I tried to tell them and they refused to even do their own research for their own life. And yeah, not good. So, anyway, do your own research, be your own person, spread love, because love is going to change all this. All this crap that's going on in the world today, we can change it all by believing in what's right. Okay? And most people know what's right. Two guys having sex in the Senate hall, not right. Naked transgender people on the White House lawn, probably not right. Was it transvestites in schools with little children on their laps? Probably not right. I don't know. Just saying. Those are my opinions. Take it for what they're worth, but I don't think those things are right. So just keep love in your heart. Be loveful to everybody you come in contact with, because it generates, I know I sound really weird, but it generates really good energy. And your energy spreads out about 20 feet away from you. So if you have this heart that's full of love, it's going to go out and it's going to affect 2 or 3 people around you, maybe 5 people around you. And then those people start getting those vibrations, and then those people start feeling good inside. And once they start feeling good inside, those vibrations spread to the next people, and all this moves around, and it'll move around everywhere. It's there. It's true. You know, and if you don't believe in frequencies and you don't believe in how our body is, I suggest you do some research on it. And all this has been proven scientifically. You can go on YouTube and you can download hundreds of videos on this, on our body's energy and our frequencies, and how we're healing our bodies with frequencies now. The scientists, the doctors, well, I shouldn't say doctors. Well, they're probably PhDs, but not medical doctors. Mostly scientists are doing this stuff. They're proving beyond a shadow of a doubt that with a frequency, you can completely rid cancer of out of anybody's body with a frequency. It's proven. Yeah, I don't have to even argue it. I mean, there's too many scientists that have already proven it and shown it. You can see it on YouTube. It's factual. It's happening. Okay? And no, they're not AI videos. They're actual scientists from from like Japan and I want to say it was Norway. Oh, I can't remember. And even Mexico and Israel. Israel does all kinds of crazy stuff with frequencies, because they're learning, they're understanding what the Bible really means, and they're starting to listen to what the Bible's telling us to do. and it's all about the spirituality, and it's about the frequencies. It's all about frequencies in color, light. I could get into so many things, and I'm already like 15 minutes over on my show, but I could talk forever about this stuff. But frequencies, I'm telling you, is extremely important. I'm going to go do another sound bath tomorrow, and I'm excited because I get to do the heart one. And the last time I did the heart one, it was just like, oh my God, it was just unbelievable. So maybe when I come back, I'll do next week's show tomorrow night and to see if there's a difference in me, because I'm pretty sure that it will be, because last time I did it was phenomenal. But on the flip side of that, it did take a couple days for it to really like kick in. You kind of feel a little weird while it's happening, and you feel changes, and I don't know if the same, if I'm going to get the same exact reaction as I got the first time, but the first time was just phenomenal. I mean, I had never felt so peaceful. Well, it's been a long time since I felt that peaceful. It really has been, and it was just it was a really good feeling. And there's no drugs, no nothing. You just lay on a mat, and this person plays these sound bowls and all these instruments, creates all these frequencies, and it totally changes you. It's incredible. I'm here to tell you, it's real. It's real. It's real. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed my show. Started out with critical thinking. Of course, my ADHD kicked in, and we ended up on frequencies. I can talk about frequencies all day long. I love them. It's the new way. We're gonna get rid of big pharma. It's gonna go away because people are going to go to homeopathic and frequency healing. It's going to happen. Mark my words. I may or may not be alive when it happens. I am pretty sure I will be, because I think this is going to break loose real soon here. And when it does, you're going to see an awakening like nothing ever seen before on this planet. Once people start frequency healing and all their organs become in check, their pineal gland opens up, your brain fog goes away, there's going to be all these things that will happen. And when they do, there will just be a, quote the Eagles, a peaceful, easy feeling. I don't know how to explain it. It's not euphoric or anything like that, but but it makes you feel one with the earth. It makes you just feel one with, I don't know how to explain it without sounding some kind of weirdo, but I'm just telling you, if you haven't tried any type of frequency healing, do it. And right now, it's pretty cheap. We go do these sound baths, and they're $20, and we're there an hour and a half, sometimes 2 hours. And even if it's just entertainment to you, where else can you go someplace for $20 for 2 hours? You can't. I don't know if you can even bowl for that anymore. But anyway, frequencies. I don't know how I got on frequencies from critical thinking, but well, it's critical thinking. Look it up on YouTube. Frequencies, and there's I don't know about thousands, but there probably is thousands. And even on reels on Facebook, you see all those frequencies that come up. I've noticed that since I started my sound baths, that when I open up those videos on reels and I start playing them, I immediately feel something in my body. In fact, I was listening to a couple of them tonight, and I just got all this energy in me, and I said, instead of going to bed, I'm going to stay up half the night and do my podcast, because I just got all this energy after working, a huge shift and doing all this stuff, and I love it. It's unbelievable. I'm 61, and I run around these 20-year-olds at work. The 20-year-olds can't keep up with me. I mean, I'm not bragging. Well, maybe I am. but, and I attribute it all to the energy healing. I mean, to the frequency healing, because it just, I don't know how to explain it to you. It just gives you energy and you feel good and you just become happy and all this shit going on in the world, it doesn't really bother you anymore. It's all, to me, it's just like watching a movie. I just sit back and watch all these dumb fucks. You know, all these idiots in England that are killing each other and all this bad stuff going on. It's going to end. Believe me, it's going to end. I believe it's going to get worse before it gets better, but it's going to end. And in my opinion, the sooner we get hooked up with this frequency healing and we start getting rid of the drugs and start using the universe and nature to heal ourselves, it's going to be awesome. It's going to be the rapture, if you want to quote the Bible. It's because if you understand spirituality and you understand the Bible together, in my opinion, the rapture is the awakening. Because it says right in the Bible, people will just vanish, disappear. And I know from my spiritual learnings that when the human being species gets to a certain percentage of awakening, certain peoples are going to disappear into the fourth and fifth dimension. So, and it coincides with the Bible. So it's just, I don't know. Maybe it's coincidence. I don't know. But you can, and then you can take the creation. I know I'm all over the place tonight. And then you can take the creation tablets from, and I think I've said this several times. You can take the creation tablets from Samaria and take Genesis, the creation tablets written, I don't know, 10,000 years ago, let's say, I don't know, at least 5,000. And Genesis, and you can take Genesis and put it right on top of the creation tablets, and it's almost verbatim. Do it because it'll blow your fucking mind. The cuneiform or the Sumerian creation tablets. I believe they were deciphered by Zachary Sitchin at first. So, and you can look him up. He's dead, but he's got writings, and I don't know if I believe all of his translations, but anyway. So you can take a lot of the old scriptures, and you can take the Bible, and a lot of things actually match up in there. And I believe the rapture is the awakening, because like when I was in the Mormon church, they kept telling us that that the seventh seal had been opened, which means that we're in the end of days, and everybody thinks that's like bad, but it's not. We are at the end of days, and it's a good thing. That means we're gonna push out the dark, and we're gonna bring back the light. And yes, people are gonna disappear, and I don't know. I'm probably gonna be one of them. Because I have that spirituality and I understand what God is saying to us. I believe I understand it. It's not religion. It's not religion. But I mean, religion kind of preaches it and it kind of teaches it, but it's not the same. But I think those people will get to the same place. I believe that because of all the love they have in their heart. Because I believe that's the true driver, is the love. If you have love all the way through your heart, and you truly do love this planet, and you truly do love everything around you, I believe you will be part of the rapture. I would say awakening, but people won't buy that. So we'll say the rapture. And I don't know the Bible word for word, but I do believe it says that people will just vanish. They'll just ascend. And when you get into spiritual research, it basically says the same thing. We're going to get to this point where the awakening is so large on the planet that all the good people will move on to the fourth and fifth. I believe it's fifth. Actually, I think we're going to go right to the fifth, and that way we can. But anyway, we're going to do a density change, and then the people like the two faggots in the Senate hall, they're going to be left behind, so they can keep butt fucking each other. Let them screw up the world some more, but we're going to move on, and we're going to be in our own density, and we'll both be on the same. You got to research this stuff because from what I understand, we'll both be on the same planet at the same time, but we'll be in different frequencies or densities. So it gets kind of complicated, but a lot of this stuff has been proven scientifically. And again, you can look it up, and I probably should be better prepared and give you like places to go to look it up. But I've done a lot of research on that, and there's multiple scientists worldwide that have proven there's at least 8, 9, or 10 dimensions that they can prove in multi-universes and all that kind of stuff. So this isn't, this isn't fairy tales and bullshit anymore. This is reality. And love yourself. Love yourself. Take care of yourself. Eat right. Don't eat the garbage the government's feeding you. Eat good food. Go take a sound bath. Get spiritual. And if you want religion, be religious. I mean, I'm not going to tell people what to do, but get the love in your heart, and you're going to be good, and you're going to feel the way I do. You're going to understand everything on a lot higher level, and all this stuff in the world is not even going to bother you because it doesn't bother me. I know I get excited about it sometimes because I do fall up and I do get wrapped up in it, but in all actuality, it's basically just entertainment. Because, like I said, they're both fucked up, right and left. They're both equally fucked up. So it's no big deal. All right, everybody. I kind of jabberwockied on, so I hope you enjoyed my show, and I hope you could make it all the way through it. I appreciate everybody being on, and yeah, next week it'll have to be Thursday because I'm going to do my next episode tomorrow. So it'll be on time. I should be back on schedule next week. I do believe my job is ending next week, which I hope it is because I'm ready to move on. It's part of this it's part of all this stuff I'm talking about right now. All this bad energy. It feels so good to get rid of this crap out of my life and move on to the next thing. So anyway, I'll get into more of this on another episode, I think. And not next episode, but maybe a few down so I don't bore you to death with the same shit. Same stuff. All right, everybody, thank you for joining. See you next Thursday. Take care and love yourself and love everybody around you. All right.